welcome to Tuesday's Easter devotional. This is day 3. If you've missed out on 1 and 2, do be sure to check them out. Today we are thinking about the words that Jesus speaks to his mother and his friend John from the cross. You can read about this exchange in John chapter 19, verses 25 to 27. It's a wonderfully tender scene, one that reveals the affection that Jesus had for his family and friends. We all know how important family and friends are, don't we? We can really appreciate it now, particularly at this point in the year more than ever, because the pandemic has taught us just how important family and friends are. One of the most painful aspects of the last year has surely been the fact we've been isolated from each other. We haven't been able to see each other and to be with each other in the way we'd like to. Parents were unable to see children. We were talking to each other through windows and screens, unable to hug grandkids and having to limit the time we spend together or think about how we can do things outdoor. It's been hard and painful, and we hope that the vaccine will mean that these things will come to an end soon. But what this last year has really revealed deep within us is that need for each other, that need for human connection, that need for human affection. And I think that it's dispelled any myth, if we even had such a view, that we can be an island, that we can exist alone. The truth is, we need each other, and we are better when we are together. That's a lesson that has been reinforced over and over again in the last 12 months, I think, that we need each other. And if we need each other living in the modern 21st century, how much more did Jesus' mother need people 2,000 years ago? Some people believe that Mary was likely a widow at this point because we don't really read about Joseph at later points in the Gospels. Having lost her husband, and now she's confronted with a further tragedy of losing her son as well. We know that from other Gospel accounts that when Jesus saw a widow at the funeral of her own son, we're told his heart went out to her. How much more must Jesus' heart not break and go out to his own mother as he sees her in this pain? It's remarkable here, isn't it, that faced with his own trials, with his own troubles, facing death, his concern is still for others. This is the heart of Christ. Here we see his heart, his compassion, his affection in a powerful way. Here we see a powerful example of how we should care for others, particularly our family and friends. But this scene is significant for another reason. It's not just that Jesus sets us a good example about how we should care for family and friends, but it's really significant because it shows us how Jesus perfectly fulfilled the law of God. We talk a lot about the death of Christ and how he saves us from our sins through his death, but his life, his perfect life, is also vital for Jesus coming to save us. Jesus had to live the life that we could never live. He had to live a life free of sin, a life of perfection. He had to fulfill all of the law of Christ. And James tells us that if we break even one law, then we have broken the whole law. For Jesus to fulfill God's plan, to die in our place, he had to perfectly keep that law. And we see him do this throughout his life. He fulfills all righteousness. But here on the cross, we see him do it in two particular ways. First of all, we see him fulfill the Old Testament command to care for widows and to honour his parents. So to care for widows and to honour parents, those were two commands that Jesus fulfilled. His actions show us how Jesus perfectly fulfilled the fifth commandment. It reminds us that the fifth commandment was not just concerned about young children doing what their parents tell them, but the fifth commandment is a call to honour our parents. It's something that we should strive to do at every stage in our lives, all through our lives. And how we do that, how we honour our parents, will differ at different stages in our lives. As we grow and develop, our relationship with our parents will grow and develop. But we never grow out of our need to honour our parents. A.W. Pink, whose little book that I'm using to help guide us and to guide our thoughts on these studies, says that the call to honour our parents is about more than simply bare obedience. It embraces love and affection, gratitude and respect. This was a thought that really challenged me this week as I studied this text, as I thought about these words. Let's think about how we might honour our parents today if they're still with us. It might be pausing now to pray for them, to give thanks for their care and concern and the compassion that they've showed us in our lives. It may be that we simply lift the phone to see how they are and to tell them that we love them. It might be arranging to do something nice with them whenever the restrictions lift. We can honour our parents in many different ways. We can honour our parents by how we live our lives. But let's not forget that Jesus shows affection not just to his mother, but he shows affection towards his friend John as well. So let's be careful as well to think about how we might bless and benefit our friends and our wider family circles that God has blessed us with at this time. So we think about Jesus making provision, showing affection for his mother and his friend. Let us think of ways that we can show love and affection to those who God has placed in our lives.